Welcome to Pink Blade.
Here, we don't just watch stories.
We step inside them.
Today, we're diving deep into Bridgerton Season 2, Episode 3.
I am genuinely so excited to get into this one. We're talking about a bee in your bonnet. And look, I think if you're just, casually watching the show, maybe scrolling through your phone while it's on in the background,
As one does.
you might think the first two episodes were really the main event. You get the arrival of the new girls, the Sharmas, the big balls, the initial sparks flying between Kate and Anthony.
The setup.
The setup, exactly.
Yeah.
But looking at the production notes and all the critical analysis we have in front of us, this third episode, it just feels different. It feels like this is the moment the season actually decides what it wants to be.
It creates a distinct line in the sand. I mean, structural critics, they often point to the third episode of an 8-episode season as the lock-in moment.
The lock-in. Okay.
Yeah. The premise is established, all the pleasantries are over, and now the real conflict can actually begin. But a bee in your bonnet does something I think even more specific.
What's that?
It stops the forward momentum of the courtship plot almost entirely.
It just hits the brakes.
It slams on the brakes, on the future anyway, to force the narrative and us to look backward. And it uses a very, very specific narrative device to do that.
A change of location.
A change of location. We are leaving the city. We're leaving the curated, paved streets of Mayfair, and we are heading to the ancestral seat. We're going to Aubrey Hall.
Which is, it's a huge shift visually. You go from these tight, almost claustrophobic, gilded drawing rooms to these sweeping vistas, the open green countryside. But I get the sense that in this genre, a move to the country isn't just about, giving the set designers a break from the London backdrops.
Oh, not at all. No. In Regency literature, and honestly, in most pastoral literature, from Austen all the way to Forster, the move from the city to the country is never just about the scenery. It's about a fundamental shift in social performance.
Okay, break that down for me. Because they're still wearing the corsets.
Of course.
They're still bowing and curtsying. The rules, they haven't just disappeared.
The rules haven't disappeared, no, but the enforcer of the rules has changed.
Oh, it's time.
Think about London. In London, who is watching? The Ton is watching.
Lady Whistledown is watching.
Lady Whistledown is watching every single move. It is this panopticon of judgment where every single glance is public property. But at Aubrey Hall, the public eye is removed and it's replaced by the private eye.
The family is watching.
Exactly. It becomes this insular, high-pressure environment. The sources we have, they actually describe the Bridgerton reunion not as some relaxing family vacation, but as a feral dynamic.
Feral. I like that.
It's the perfect word. I mean, in London, the Bridgertons are polished diamonds. They present this united, perfect front. But get them to Aubrey Hall, and they revert to their base settings.
They're a pack of wolves.
They really are. They're loud. They are fiercely competitive. They're messy. They're real.
And the Sharmas Kate, Edwina, and Lady Mary, they're walking straight into this lion's den.
They are total outsiders entering a closed ecosystem.
Yeah.
And this is so crucial for understanding Anthony's mindset here. For Anthony, this invitation to Aubrey Hall is tactical.
Right.
He thinks he's playing offense. He wants to get Edwina away from the distractions of all the other London suitors so he can finally secure the proposal.
He's treating it like a business merger. It feels so corporate. It's like, let's take the client to the golf course and close the deal.
That is a perfect analogy.
Oh.
He views himself as the provider here, the manager. Notice how he acts in the early scenes of this episode.
He's constantly checking his watch.
The watch. He's managing the schedule. He's organizing the hunt. He wants to show everyone, especially Kate, that he can manage the logistics of life perfectly.
So that he never has to engage with the emotion of life.
Precisely. But he doesn't realize that by bringing them to his home turf, he isn't securing his control at all. He is actually exposing his single greatest vulnerability.
He's bringing Kate into the very place that holds his deepest trauma.
And Kate is ready for a fight. The notes we have describe her here as a sentinel.
A sentinel.
She isn't there to enjoy the country air or admire the architecture. She enters Aubrey Hall completely defensive, completely protective of her sister. She is there to block the merger.
It's so interesting you mentioned that feral dynamic of the family, because you see Edwina really struggle with it here. There's a fascinating contrast in the source material regarding Edwina's behavior at Aubrey Hall versus Kate's. Edwina is trying so hard to be the perfect Regency diamond.
She's performing the role.
She is. She's polite, she sits on the sidelines, she stays clean.
While the Bridgertons are, literally tackling each other in the dirt.
Exactly. And that is the very first clue that Edwina might not actually fit this family. She is adapting to the idea of being a Viscountess, the polished London version of it.
Right.
But she isn't adapting to the reality of the Bridgertons. Kate, on the other hand.
Oh, Kate doesn't care about the mold.
Not at all. She cares about the game.
Which brings us directly to the stakes. So we have the social stakes, fitting in with this chaotic family. But the emotional stakes are so much higher. This episode sets up a really clear dichotomy. Security versus vulnerability.
And Anthony is absolutely obsessed with security.
He is. He believes that if he marries Edwina, a woman he finds pleasant, agreeable, but does not love, he is safe. He's secure. But everything in this episode, from the setting itself to the memories it triggers, is conspiring to strip him of that security.
And this is why we have to talk about the narrative pivot. We mentioned that this episode looks backward, and it looks back to a very specific, very dark moment.
The death of Edmund Bridgerton.
We've heard about him. We've seen the portrait in season 1. We know he died. But we have never seen it happen. Why reveal this now? I mean, why in episode 3 of season 2?
Because up until this moment, Anthony is, to put it bluntly, he's really hard to like.
He's a jerk. I mean, let's be real. In the first 2 episodes, he's arrogant, he's dismissive, he views women as broodmares.
The list.
Oh my God, the list. In the first episode of this season, he literally has a list of requirements for a wife like he's buying a prize horse.
He's the antagonist of Kate's story. And if you don't understand why he is that way, you can't root for him. It's impossible. This flashback, it functions as a Rosetta Stone.
Rosetta Stone, I like that.
It decodes his behavior. We suddenly realize that his transactional approach to marriage isn't because he hates love. It's because he is terrified of the cost of love.
The cost of love. Wow, yeah, that's the heavy theme here.
It's the central thesis of the entire episode. Anthony believes that great love equals great pain. And he isn't wrong, based on his own experience. He has this core belief that he cannot show someone his best without eventually allowing them to see his worst.
And he is terrified of his worst.
He is. This episode, it completely reframes the genre for us. We think we're watching a simple enemies to lovers romance, but episode 3 suddenly turns it into a psychological drama about grief.
And it explains Anthony's split personality.
The split between the boy and the Viscount.
Yes.
Exactly. So let's unpack that flashback scene. Because the direction here by a director named Alex Pillai is incredibly specific. It doesn't look like the rest of the show.
No, it doesn't. The lighting is completely different. It has this weird hazy quality to it.
It's almost dreamlike, or maybe more like a faded memory. It visually distinguishes the past from the crisp, vibrant, almost high-definition present day.
And it starts so idyllically. We see a version of Anthony we have never, ever met before. He's 18.
Just a boy.
He's smiling, his shoulders are relaxed, he's not carrying the weight of the world yet.
He looks like a kid. He's just a boy hanging out with his dad, who he clearly adores.
And the dad, Edmund, played by Rupert Evans, he is the absolute picture of the perfect mentor, the perfect father. They are coming back from a hunt. It's a prime father-son bonding moment, as the notes call it. Edmund is teaching him about patience, about listening to yourself. You can see the man Anthony would have become if he'd just had more time.
You see his potential.
You do. And then the bee.
It happens so fast.
That's the absolute horror of it for me. In a drama, you usually expect a death to be grand.
Right, a big set piece.
A duel at dawn, a carriage accident on a stormy night, a wasting illness where you have, time to say goodbye. It's meaningless. It's a bug.
It's the suddenness and the randomness that creates the trauma. The source material we have knows. The camera work here specifically, it goes handheld. It becomes shaky.
It mimics the panic.
It mimics the physiological panic. We are seeing this through 18-year-old Anthony's eyes. His father, this invincible figure who holds up the entire sky, is suddenly on the ground gasping for air.
And then Violet comes out.
Oh, this is the moment that just breaks Anthony.
Yeah.
He watches his mother, who is pregnant, run to her husband, and he watches her life force just vanish.
It's gone.
The source material describes it as the air she breathed being gone. And Ruth Gemmell's performance here is just devastating. She isn't just sad, she's completely destroyed.
And Anthony is just standing there. He can't even process what's happening.
And he isn't allowed to. This is the crucial detail. While his mother is screaming, the doctor turns to Anthony, not his mother, to Anthony.
Yeah.
He doesn't ask, "Are you okay, son?" He asks, "Lord Bridgerton, your mother or the baby?" We may not be able to save both.
It's this unimaginable. He's a kid. His dad just died 10 seconds ago in his arms.
He is forced to bypass his own grief, to become the decision maker, to become the Viscount. In that single instant, the jovial boy dies with his father, and the man with the watch is born.
He looks at his mother's pain, this all-consuming grief, and he makes a silent vow right there.
I will never be the cause of that kind of suffering for someone I love.
So when he says he wants a marriage without love, he actually thinks he's being noble.
He thinks he is being protective. It's a shield. If he marries Edwina, whom he likes but doesn't love, then when he dies, and he is absolutely convinced he will die young, just like his father.
Right.
She won't be destroyed. She'll be sad, but she'll be a wealthy widow. She won't be violent. She won't be a walking ghost.
That is so twisted, but also it's weirdly logical if you're operating from a place of deep, unresolved trauma.
It's a trauma response disguised as duty.
Okay, so that's the shadow hanging over the entire episode. It's incredibly heavy. But then the show does something completely brilliant. It gives us whiplash. We go from this heart-wrenching tragedy straight into croquet.
Small F, Pall Mall, the game of death.
Apparently, this was the one thing that Julia Quinn, the author, insisted on and Shonda Rhimes said had to be in the season. It's quintessential Bridgerton banter.
It's so essential because it shows the other side of the Bridgerton dynamic. The tragedy bonded them, yes, but it also made them fiercely competitively alive. And for the narrative, it serves as a battlefield.
Specifically, the mallet of death. We have to talk about the mallet of death.
We do. Kate selecting the black mallet, Anthony's favorite. It's not subtle at all.
Yeah.
She is directly challenging his authority. In London, she has to be polite. She has to play by the tons rules. But on the Pall Mall lawn at Aubrey Hall, she can go for his throat.
It's a completely symbolic challenge. She's basically saying, I'm not afraid of you, and I am not impressed by your title.
And he is so thrown by it. But also, you can see, he's intrigued. He's excited by it.
He is. And then we get the mud scene, which I have to say is one of the most delightful, joyful moments in the whole series.
That's absolutely pivotal.
So pivotal.
When I think about the Regency-era, what is it defined by? Decorum, cleanliness?
White gloves, pristine muslin dresses, polished boots.
Exactly. Mud is the enemy of decorum. It is the enemy of the ton. It's everything you're supposed to avoid.
So when both of their balls land squarely in the mud,
they have a choice. Do they follow the rules of society, or do they play the game to win? Edwina, very notably, stays on the hill.
She does. She drinks lemonade. She says, I think I'll sit this one out. She stays clean. Perfect.
While Kate goes into the mud.
Kate hacks up her dress and wades right in, and Anthony, after a moment's hesitation, follows her.
It's the great equalizer.
Exactly. It completely strips away the titles. Standing ankle-deep in muck, he isn't the Viscount Bridgerton, and she isn't the penniless spinster. They are just two ridiculously competitive people laughing their heads off.
And he laughs. A real laugh, not a polite chuckle.
A soul-deep chuckle, as one of the critics put it. It connects all the way back to the flashback. Kate is the only person who can access the boy who died at 18.
She resurrects that part of him, just for a moment.
And it's so telling. Edwina sits on the sidelines perfect and clean. Kate gets messy and real. That's the entire love triangle in one single visual metaphor.
It is. Edwina fits the title of Viscountess, but Kate fits the man.
We have to talk about the behind the scenes on this because apparently all that joy we see on screen was completely real.
Yeah, Simone Ashley and Jonathan Bailey have talked about this in interviews. It's really fun. They had 4 copies of that beautifully embroidered lilac dress because they knew it would be ruined instantly.
Before? Wow.
And the director, Alex Pall, he just set up the cameras and let them play. A lot of the laughter and the competitive spirit, it wasn't scripted. It was just 2 actors having an absolute blast.
I think Simone Ashley said somewhere that the script does the work when it comes to the chemistry, but here, the mud did the work.
The mud did the work. It completely broke the tension. You just can't be pompous and rigid when you're covered in dirt.
Speaking of that dress, you mentioned lilac in our pre-show notes. You're saying there's a whole color theory happening here.
Oh, absolutely. Sophie Canale, the costume designer, is so intentional with her choices. Lilac is the thematic color of this entire episode.
Okay, break this down for me. Why lilac? What does it mean?
Well, in the Victorian language of flowers, which these characters would have known inside and out, lilac symbolizes the first emotions of love, but it serves a dual purpose. It's also a color of half mourning. It's the color you wear when you're transitioning out of deep mourning, so it sits right between the black of death and the vibrancy of life.
So it connects the 2 central themes of the episode.
It literally connects the grief of the past to the budding romance of the present. Violet wears lilac at the grave in the flashback. Kate wears that iconic lilac dress with a sheer overlay during Pall.
And when Kate falls in the mud, she muddies the lilac.
Exactly. The source analysis we have suggests this symbolizes the loss of innocence, or maybe the muddying of the plan. It marks the start of a messy, complex connection. It's no longer a clean, simple courtship with Edwina. It's officially muddy.
That is such a cool, subtle detail. I also love the contrast with the Sharma aesthetic in general. They use these rich jewel tones.
Yes. Kate is so often in deep teal, heavy velvets, and you see these Indian fabrics with peacock motifs in the embroidery. She is bold. She visually commands the space.
She stands out against the softer pastels of the tent. She isn't trying to blend in.
No, and it's a visual cue that she's different. And Anthony is just inexorably drawn to that difference.
Something else I noticed, or maybe something I didn't notice, the music.
Yes, or more specifically, the absence of it.
Right. Usually Bridgerton is famous for those string quartet pop covers. We're all waiting for the orchestral version of Material Girl or Wrecking Ball. But in the key emotional scenes here, the flashback, the bee sting.
It's all original score. Chris Bauer's score. There are tracks like Lord Bridgerton Stung. They relied on the classical score to underscore the psychological depth. A pop cover would have taken us right out of the trauma.
It would have felt wrong.
It would have. The score keeps us locked inside Anthony's headspace.
That is a really smart choice. It makes it feel more cinematic and less, fun.
Which brings us to the climax of the episode. The moment where all the fun and games stop completely. The bee sting in the garden.
This is where the past just crashes violently into the present.
Can you set the scene for us?
So they're arguing, as usual. The tension is incredibly high. They're standing way too close. And then a bee lands on Kate's chest, right on her bodice. Now, for the audience and for Kate, it's a nuisance. It's just a bug. But for Anthony,
it's a full-blown panic attack. To him, he isn't seeing a bee. He is seeing a murder weapon. He is seeing his father dying all over again. But this time, it's happening to Kate.
The description of his reaction in the sources, the hyperventilation, the heavy breathing, the sheer terror in his eyes. He can't breathe. He completely loses all composure. The Viscount mask is gone.
And this is where the show makes a massive, massive divergence from the book. And we absolutely need to talk about this because it was a huge point of discussion for fans. The Bee-Gate debate.
Right. In the book, The Viscount Who Loved Me, this scene plays out very, very differently.
Very differently. In the book, Anthony sees the bee. He panics, yes. But his response is to try and suck the venom out of the sting.
Which is on Kate's chest.
And while he is doing that, their mothers and Lady Featherington walk in.
Of course they do.
They are caught in a compromising position, and they are forced to marry to save her reputation.
So it's the classic compromise trope. They get married because they have to, not because they choose to.
Exactly. But the showrunners, Chris Van Dusen and Shonda Rhimes, they scrapped that entirely. They removed the venom sucking. They removed the mothers walking in. They removed the forced marriage plot device completely.
And what was the general reaction from the fans who loved the book?
Overwhelmingly positive. I mean, the pivot was widely praised as a massive improvement.
Why do you think that is? Is it just because watching a man suck a bee sting off a woman's chest in 4K resolution might have been a little weird?
Small laugh. There is definitely a cringe factor to consider there. Logistically, it's awkward to film and, take seriously. But psychologically, the changes are just so much smarter for the story they're telling on screen.
How so?
By removing the forced marriage plot, it allowed the scene to become a purely psychological bonding moment. In the show, Kate sees his panic. She doesn't know about his father yet, or at least she doesn't know the specifics of the bee sting, but she sees the absolute terror in his eyes, and her reaction is to comfort him.
She takes his hand.
Mm-hmm.
And she puts it on her chest.
Right over her heart.
She makes him feel that she is alive, that she is breathing, that she's okay.
This is the moment they break the touch barrier. It shifts them instantly from enemies to partners in vulnerability. One of the expert notes here describes the tension in that moment as volcanic and explosive.
It's so incredibly intimate. I would argue it's more intimate than if they had kissed, because he is utterly terrified and helpless, and she is anchoring him back to reality.
And it creates a secret between them. No one else knows about the panic attack, just them. That intimacy is far more dangerous to Anthony's plans than a forced marriage would ever be.
It proves that despite all his best efforts to avoid love and heartbreak, he is already in it. He's already terrified of losing her. He just didn't know it until that second.
And fans really highlighted the acting here. Jonathan Bailey's portrayal of a panic attack feels so visceral. It's not a Hollywood panic attack. It's messy and ugly and real.
And Simone Ashley's stillness, she just becomes the calm in his storm.
It creates this unbreakable bond that logic and his very logical plan to marry Edwina cannot break.
So we've looked at the social world, the trauma, the key scenes, the behind-the-scenes details, the fan reaction. What does this all mean? What is the central thematic question this episode leaves us grappling with?
I think the question is this. Can one truly protect their heart by refusing to love? Or is that effort itself a more agonizing form of heartbreak?
Oof, that hits hard, because Anthony thinks he has a foolproof plan.
He believes he is safe by proposing to Edwina. It's a mathematical equation to him. No great love equals no great grief.
But this episode just proves the complete fallacy of that plan.
Completely. By letting Kate see his panic, by letting her see his worst, he has inadvertently given his heart away. He failed to protect himself the moment he let her in, even if it was just for a second to feel her heartbeat.
So it leaves you, the listener, asking, is the safety of duty worth the misery of a life without the air that you breathe?
Anthony saw his mother lose the air she breathed, and he decided, in that moment, he'd rather just hold his breath forever. But Kate is making him exhale, whether he wants to or not, and that is absolutely terrifying for him.
Wow, that is the perfect way to put it. This episode really does change everything. It turns what could have been a one-dimensional, arrogant rake into a deeply wounded, complex human being.
And it raises the stakes from will they or won't they kiss to will they survive this emotion.
Exactly. Well, we have unpacked a lot today, from the mud of the Pall Mall course all the way to the tragedy of the bee sting.
It's a dense, heavy episode, but it's the absolute foundation for everything that comes next.
Thanks for listening to Pink Blade.
If this episode revealed something new,
you can follow to explore the next chapter.
And if a moment stayed with you,
share it in the comments.
Until next time.
This is Pink Blade.